So yes, that is a dragon,
So
and that
cool.
is in the game. That is going to be something that happens. So, I mean, who is Imani? Like, tell me about what she is as a champion. You can see right there, I mean, multicolored, stand switching. Like, who exactly is she?
So Imani is one of the last of the warders.
Second, and I mean, this has been phenomenal. Like, just something that's coming through. You can see stance switching coming forward, and we have some voice lines.
Those who would seek to harm you shall suffer a dragon's judgment. For my people, I will do anything necessary. Do not mistake me for weak. Guns? So primitive. Bless the elements. Did you freeze or burn? Frost and fire grant me strength.
So a lot of fun references to her being able to use both frost and fire.
yeah.
And a lot, I like the little nod, like guns being primitive to her, even though you said like the warders are kind of older than that tech.
Yeah, well, it's a more elegant than a gun.
Like pulling a trigger versus summoning the embodiment of flame in the palm of my hand. Come on, Gore. Like, let's.
Yeah, you're already at the top. I mean, the gun's just irrelevant at that point.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, I guess we can just go ahead and and go in game and look at the abilities, look what everything has that she has going forward with her. So, Garrett, just walk me through, like, what does Imani have in her kit?
So she has a diverse set of abilities. She at her core, right, is a damage dealer, and she deals a lot of damage. Right now on screen, you are looking at the Frost Enhance. So this is a faster paced stance than Fire, and really about this kind of rhythm as you're throwing out each of these icicles that you're summoning from thin air in front of your face. Like, it feels so smooth, it's so good. So the cool part here is, before we actually get into depth on the other stuff, she has a passive mechanic that is directly tied into her enhance and her damaging abilities. So you can see on the UI here is that as she's dealing damage with these frost bolts, that her mana bar is charging 1, 2, 3, and then she gets a proc, where she gets a clear casted version of her current in-hand, which is a fast, almost instantaneous version of that in-hand. And it works for Frost, and it works for Fire. And you weave these into your gameplay. For Frost, they kind of just shoot out as you're tracking normally. So it's like, bom, 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 bom. And it's really awesome and rhythmic. It feels so good. And Fire is an entirely different shooting mechanic. Similar to Shaolin's, if you played that character, where it's a charge shot. So starting low, this isn't something you tap, right? This is something that you build up. And currently you have, this guy's a talent equipped. Can we get a minimum charge shot fired? A non-hold. So if you look, let me see the projectile. Can we get the projectile? So as you charge up, the projectile itself even gets bigger. So you tell the player that the longer you hold it, the more damage it's going to do. And then the full charge is a larger projectile, and the projectile itself, like, it's not even just visual, it's actually larger, so it's easier to hit the longer you charge it as well. But you still gotta land these shots. These are all actual projectiles. Oh, God, the rhythm, like the smoothness of those animations is so good. Shout out to the animation team.
Yeah, Jim
It
and his team
feels like
crushed it.
I'm
Casting.
actually a mage.
You're a
Yeah,
caster.
and that's like the whole point, right? That's bringing something new. Most everyone else has some sort of weapon. Like, you occasionally get to either hit someone with a giant axe or punch them, but this is the first
Fireball.
full, like, cast.
Fireball.
Yeah.
So we've gone through the passes, we've gone through the in-hands, how they're distinctly mechanically different and define each of the roles. Ice is that faster paced, higher DPS stance, but Fire is a slower pace but more burst stance. Now let's go to the alt fire in Frost. So your alt fire in Frost is called Frost Bomb. What he's going to do is lob out this large projectile and then detonate it in midair.
So good.
It's a giant lumbering projectile that locks you out. Imani is locked out while that is in the air. So you have to choose wisely when you want to use this. However, it is a powerful ability because it applies a damage. So the further it goes away from you, the more damage it does, capping at a total of 800. It also applies root. This is a damage character with essentially on-demand CC. Granted, this is a long cooldown, about 20 seconds or so. Both of the alt fires in each of the stances is very powerful, and they have longer cooldowns. But that's Frost Bomb, and now let's do Fire. Let's line these bots up to show the true qualities.
When they come back. It's not often that you truly get to hit about 10 Cassies in a row
So
with an ability.
Inferno Cannon is the name of this alt fire device, and just like the name, it is going to emit a beam of fire from your hands. Think of this like planted, but a little different. So you're actually doing less DPS and less damage overall than Shaolin's plane did. However, it's applying in an instant trace, and the big qualifiers here is that it pierces. So if you can line up enemies in a corridor, line up enemies on a point, you can turn the tide of battle with your alt fire, and it's very powerful. It's a lot of fun. However, it does zero you out wherever you are in terms of velocity, so you are going to be motionless when you're in Inferno Cannon.
So if you jump, it will hold you like in the air if you're like falling down, or maybe you go off one of the lifts on the side. Like, so you can kind of use that for maybe a positioning either advantage or disadvantage depending on when you have it.
That is correct. It can be very good, and also it can get you killed real quickly. So yeah, that shows right there the kind of the width of the beam.
Yeah.
It feels so good to use. But be careful with it. And also, both of your alt fires charge your mana as well. So you can proc a clear cast in your alt fire or from your alt fire, and then follow up with an instant spell directly after. It's a really great combo. Boom. So I think that covers the alt fires. Now let's go to the movement ability. This is one of my favorite movement abilities.
So cool.
In the game.
That's awesome.
I remember as I normally do, I got very excited when pitching this early on. Like we have an elemental person that can summon ice, right? Like, it's a legally distinct version of a theme that has been seen in before. I'll give you that. But the way we executed on this ability feels so good.
Yeah.
Can we get some carving? Give me some carving here, Charles.
It's also a nice little detail just to see like that she's using her fire to propel herself, that there's a little bit
like
of like
that?
lift.
Yeah.
Like, it's just the small things that make it feel better.
The ice is the air surfboard, and the fire is the jet booster, like pushing behind it. And just like any movement ability, you can kind of amplify the strength of this through your loadout pretty extensively, actually. It's a lot of fun. And an interesting mechanical nuance here. Oh, she's just like grinding. You're just like...
I actually have a feeling that there might be like the first day Imani comes out, there's going to be very little gameplay. A lot of people just trying to do any skate tricks they possibly
It's so relaxing to just like equip the duration cards and like put cooldown on and then just fly around. Just fly around our maps on this board. Yeah, it's super cool. But the interesting mechanical thing is that, so she's a damage character. And balance-wise, this is a very effective relocation tool. So there are some limiting factors that I want to bring to the forefront. This works best if you get the most distance if you travel in a straight line. If you try and turn, just as you suffer some friction, right? So flailing wildly while you're flying will result in you not going that far, actually. But if you set up the vector at which you want to travel preemptively, you're going to get a lot more bang for your buck. And you can't go like straight up, because like you can't surf straight up. Come on, it's an ice board.
So it would be kind of that fun, like where, so if you're straight, like you're trying to get away from someone who's shooting at you, you're gonna lose some distance, but maybe you don't get hit. But if you just need to get out, you'd rather just go straight, even if it means taking a couple of blows.
Yeah, absolutely. Charles, give me a Frostfire glide into an Inferno Cannon, because this is how you set up the Inferno Cannon for some really dope things. Because like I said, Inferno Cannon zeroes you out wherever you are. This includes in 3D space. So you can essentially turn, flick. Oh, Charles, you
and land on the floor.
Okay, we're gonna talk about that later, Charles. That's okay.
Oh no!
I will say he did do it earlier, but I don't. But now that he's
like catch it on camera?
under duration, it was on camera, but it was just
I believe you,
under
Charles.
duration. I feel like maybe he's now pressured.
Yeah, it's really cool. So we've done the in-hands, we've done the alt fires, we've done the movement ability. Also, so we skipped Q. Q is your stance swap, guys. This is kind of consistent. You change weapons with Q on Strix. Elemental Shift is on Imani. Flips you between the two stances. There's a cooldown on it. This is not something you do like just back and forth. So you have to be informed about when the best time to swap your stances is. And you can reduce this through cards. You can attach benefits to it through cards. But it's not something that's free, which is an important part of playing Imani well.
And you'd said the cooldown on the alt fire was relatively large as well. So is that something that's like universal, like both the fire and ice stance has the same
Both of those
cooldown?
abilities have a long cooldown. They're both very powerful, can turn the tides of the fight. Now, Charles, I think it's time. I think it's time for.
Okay, no, I guess yeah, he's going for it. He's prepared.
Oh gosh.
What's about to happen?
Unfortunately for anyone at home, you probably won't be able to destroy this many castles.
Roast him, Charles! Roast them all!
If you've ever wanted to level a small village in Paladins, you now have the opportunity.
You can now
Poor
do it.
Cassie.
Oh my god, look at this dragon!
It's so cool.
Oh, the sounds, guys! I can't tell you how pleased I am with the feeling that we've captured with this ult right here. Like, it feels like nothing else in Paladins. You are actually soaring through the game as a dragon, leveling your enemies.
And so Imani is kind of directing the dragon, but you could see her model still on the ground. Is she still vulnerable during?
Oh, she's still vulnerable.
Yeah.
She's still vulnerable, guys.
exposed.
If
You don't
dies,
transform
does
into the
disappear?
dragon. Yes. So that's a great thing to point out here. So this is a high risk, high reward ultimate. You get a very powerful dragon, as you saw. That bad boy or bad girl has 7,500 health. That's a lot of dragon meat to get through.
Yep.
However, it's also a large freaking hitbox. Anyone in their mother can hit this dragon from basically across the map. Doesn't move particularly fast, but it's very deadly. And all the while you're controlling this, Imani is stationary and very vulnerable, controlling the spell that's piloting this dragon, and she's focusing on giving the dragon instructions to kind of attack the enemies. Killing her, and as you can, should be a HUD indicator for Imani if she's getting damaged while she's still channeling this, and you gotta watch it. You gotta watch it because you can die pretty fast in Paladins, especially if you're not moving still. But cleverly placing this dragon can turn the tide of a payload push or a capture point. And properly using the dragon can lose a fight real quickly because you waste an ultimate, you die, and then where's your team fight?
And I will say the one thing, and this is something I think that Paladins has going for it, but the fire on this looks so amazing.
It doesn't
Yeah.
it? Shout out to
Frostfire.
VFX. That's Frostfire, baby.
Frostfire.
So not only is it high ticking damage,
Yep.
because it's Frostfire, it also slows.
Yeah.
So you're able to, it's a lot of damage and a slow, and it's an ult, so it's definitely something that's worthwhile, but the entire point is not only being able to summon this dragon, but also the fact that there's a pretty decent counterplay to it, and that you can just go kill Imani. Like, okay, I'm just gonna
You
go
can kill the
take
dragon
care of
too.
her.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh yeah, if you need to.
how many times in your pro
7,500 health
games,
is
right?
hard to burn through.
But how many times have you seen a Makoa get evaporated when he ults? With the proper coordination, like, this dragon is bigger than Makoa, easier to hit, has a giant tail, has to come from you, because typically people summon it, right, from further away.
Yeah.
So you know it's coming the most of the time. So
And
pay
but
attention.
It also has its own kind of control scheme as well, so you got to learn how to actually play as
Absolutely.
the dragon.
Absolutely. Playing as the dragon is important. So you pilot by looking, right? And then you move up and down on multiple ways, actually, depending on what your controller input is. So on like a gamepad controller, your left trigger, you're going to go down, and your left bumper, you're going to go up. So really simple. Your locomotion controls are on one hand, and then right trigger is your fire. So it's really easy to kind of understand, feels fluid and great to play. On PC, we've actually done a couple options for you. So Q and F, as you can see right there, have some up and down arrows. Q is going to make your dragon rise, F is going to make your dragon fall, or spacebar is going to make your dragon rise, and right click, because the dragon doesn't have an alt fire, is going to make your dragon fall. So it's very fluid, very fun to pilot.
Is that something you have to set up, or is that just universally either one's going to work?
Yeah, universally, either one's going to work.
Okay.
Yep.
So a lot of control there, and a lot of fun becoming a dragon.
Look at that
Something
dragon.
It's awesome.
I'm imagining being on the other side, like the receiving end of the dragon. When you're standing there, you're on the point.
Yeah.
I don't
you're
have
like,
to
"We just
imagine. I
maybe
can
just
tell you,
won-
it's
terrifying.
Just
Yes.
won this awesome team fight, and then all of a sudden around the corner comes this massive dragon ready to burn you down.
Yes.
Yep.
But with 7,500 health, and you had mentioned this is something I think, just to point it out, but like, do percentage damage
Yep.
things hurt? So
They
like
sure do.
debilitate, all of a sudden Sky is going to be able to chunk that
Valuable
7,500.
counter pick, right? And also it's worth mentioning teammates. You can't buff the dragon. The dragon
No Torvald shield?
effectively operates in the same way a Ying illusion does, where you can't heal it, you can't like Furia ult it, and you can't bubble it. So you're not going to get any support. You have to use the dragon's power in kind of a vacuum.
I think
and
you
time
just
it well.
saved a lot of people mentioning that you can't Fury with the dragon as well. That would probably be one of the scariest things to have to fix. That combo. You're in picks and bans and ranked, and you see that get double picked, and you just like, all right, well, guys, it was fun 6 minutes that we're about to have, but we'll come back with it. But yeah, so a lot that's going on for Imani. And I mean, that's not even all. Like, this has just been her base skin, the base dragon. There's also going to be her recolor and her mastery skin coming out with her. And the thing about it is that the dragon is also getting recolored.
Yes.
So it's this whole new kit, I guess, and a whole new look for her.
And is that with the weapon skin, Ray?
That is with the weapon. So the dragon recolor itself is attached to the weapon. So you can swap her gauntlets out as the weapon, but the recolor focus is on the dragon.
Is the mastery skin a giant gold dragon?
Well, why wouldn't it be? It's got to be rich.
Thank you.
I got so absorbed
for that.
in looking at the art that I completely forgot that she has talents too. The dragon's not the big thing. She also has talent
In our game?
that is going through. And I think you actually had said that you already spotted one that has been chosen here.
Yeah. I think he had Pyromania equipped currently. Or no, he's got Splitting Ice. Yep. So right now, the Frost in-hand that you can see bounces. So Splitting Ice is one that makes your in-hand bounce to a nearby target. This is good for AoE, like Frost is all about this kind of rhythm where you're like hitting these shots, and this gives you kind of a way to really capitalize on clustered enemies, especially in tandem with a well-placed Frost Bomb. If you can root a group of enemies by themselves and then throw a bunch of bouncing ice bolts into them, you can have some really devastating effects. It's so much fun to capitalize on that element. Ice is terrifying, guys. Ice is a great stance to play. We saw actually favoritism, at least in internal playtest, to fire, which was odd. And if we can equip that Pyromania. All right. So what Pyromania does, as you can see below the mana bar right there, successful hits with your Pyreball, and it's not Fireball, it's Pyreball, makes the third hit explode in an AoE. So you can actually kind of gamify this. What you can do is low charge the 2 preparatory hits required to trigger the AoE, and then full charge the AoE hit for a really interesting play style. But it's devastating, it's effective, you can nuke people around corners. Like Fire Stance is a lot to play. Like Fire Stance is about like kind of these big windups and like scary damage. Frost is like faster play style with more control.
And then you can see, like, I guess, like the drawback, like you said, you can throw out the 1-2, but you're not getting a whole ton of damage spread. But that full charge AoE blast, like, is going to be potentially impactful if everyone
especially if you
decides to stay
time it with
grouped
a clear cast, my man. Like if you get one hit, and your second hit sends you over to into the clear cast threshold, so your third hit is an instant cast AoE Fireball. Oh.
So a lot that I guess could be like min-maxing between all of this to make it so that she is potentially a lot more devastating than would truly line up. But it's like when the stars align and everything goes right for Imani, she
or
could
you
be the
intelligently play, right? You can build her loadout to emphasize certain aspects of it. You can build like a fire-focused loadout, Frostfire Glide specific loadout, or a stance swapping loadout. And also, it's worth mentioning that so her fire stance charge is 50% longer than Shaolin's for the same amount of damage. This is an interesting thing that you really have to consider when comparing apples to apples or oranges, fruit.
apples to apples.
But yeah, Shaolin is like a 1 second, 0.9 second build up for 1,000 damage that travels very fast. Hers is 1.6 second charge up for the same amount of damage and a slower projectile. So it is an interesting balance point right there to consider.
And so we've seen, I guess, her ice being able to kind of. So far, it seems like crowd control seems to be in there, but she has another talent that's going to be.
There's one more talent. So this is something brand new. We haven't really done this mechanic ever. This is called Mana Rift. So what this is if you remain stationary as Imani for 2 seconds, her presence and her manipulation of the otherworldly forces that give her the ability to wield these elements manifests like where she's standing after 2 seconds, creating a mana rift that charges her mana bar when you're close to it. So look at it going up. He's not damaging anyone, but he's getting free mana. So this can really, if you're allowed to like set up, get this mana rift down, you essentially become this like turd-esque playstyle where you're confined to a small area, but you can potentially unleash some devastating damage. And the caveat is that If you step out of range of this thing, it disappears instantly. Gone. And you then have to remain stationary again for the another 2 seconds to reactivate it.
And so there's a lot of things I see, and I guess this was kind of like a balancing point, not only for the talent, but just some of her abilities, where it's just like, you're stuck. You are here. This is where you have to stand. But if you get a good position or a bad position, like that's either going to make or break your team fight. That's going to make or break your gameplay.
Yep, absolutely.
And one noticeable thing about all these talents is they offer such unique and diverse play styles. And that's something we'll talk about later on the stream, how that's something we really have planned for all of the champions' talents. There's 3 of them, and every single one is so different, right? It's not just like, oh, increased damage. Like, you are going to have a different experience with every single one of these talents for Imani.
And there's so much, that's going on. You had even kind of hinted at having cards where you can build, like, I'm going to go fire, I'm going to go ice, or I'm going to go stance switch. So, like, there's a way to really kind of make her your own champion. You can play, you want to be like an ice mage, you can be an ice mage.
Her cards are good, guys. Go look at her cards. Like, they're pretty nutty.
This is going to be, I think, probably one of the best champions, probably the best reason to start out Season 2 with Imani, because she is bringing so much uniqueness. And I think a really, like you have mentioned countless times, a really unique element to Paladins that is so unique to Paladins as well, so it's just perfect. And that is going to be what I believe is her recolor coming through. So she loses the hair, but she gains a little bit more.
Yeah, it's such a really cool silhouette change, right?
Yeah.
How she had like
super impactful,
the gorgeous like giant locks previously, in kind of that dragon's tail-esque silhouette.
We jokingly called it the dragon's braid.
Yep. And this one, it's like, nah, she's streamlined for combat. Makes her more aerodynamic.
I think she looks so powerful in the splash art. I love it.
Yeah. She's such a badass.
And I think we've got a turnaround for this one as well, so you can see it. And this isn't just like a regular recolor. As you can see, this is an actual model change to her hair.
And so, just based on, the small things that I've been able to pick up over time about the design, that means, like, there's just a couple of things. If you, I guess, in her original model, like, is there still going to be maybe a hitbox behind her head, or is that, like, going to change? Like, does having hair and not having hair make anything different?
No, it doesn't change any gameplay at all.
There she is standing. Both of these skins come through, and with the change in, I guess, like, some color scheme, the dragon is changing as well in this.
Yes. This is the sort of red take on the dragon, like a more fire-oriented dragon.
Yeah, no, it's sick in game.
And then we also have the gold skin that is going to be coming out with her. And with standard, I guess, level 50.
I expect to see a lot of players with level 50 Imani's, okay?
Now that the gold is going to be fixed for all those event multipliers, when you're able to get that, you're probably going to use that to level up your party to get a gold dragon.
Get a gold dragon.
Historically, dragons like gold.
Yep.
So why wouldn't a dragon want to be made of gold?
It makes sense.
Armor-plated gold, or a gold armor-plated dragon.
We don't have to specify.
Just loves gold, man.
Is being able to come through, but that skin's been coming through. And I will say the gold skins lately have been killing it. Like, I actually lost all of my gold previously when Furia came out. That's where all mine went in. And then when Dredges came out, I was like, I don't actually have enough to level myself up to get this skin I want. I'm going to have to do it the old-fashioned way and play. But I don't think anyone's going to have a problem doing that with Imani.
Nope, not.
But that is going to be one of the biggest ones. And again, you can look at all of the other details or kind of read through the abilities, get all of the numbers, the